Today I've collected 5 of my favourite Aeropress recipes to share and review, as well as compare them against each other's. All the recipes will of course be written out down below with links to the original source. Starting with James Hoffmann. His recipe calls for 11 grams of finely ground coffee. For all the recipes I will use this coffee, which is a washed Ethiopian. So for this recipe and coffee, I have found 17 clicks on the comandante to work well. Pour the coffee into the Aeropress the standard way up, start a timer and pour 200 grams of boiling water over the coffee. Make sure to saturate all of the coffee with your pour. Add the plunger and let that sit for 2 minutes. Now at 2 minutes, grab your Aeropress and give it a little gentle swirl. Wait for 30 seconds and then press with a nice slow press all the way through. The resulting coffee is very enjoyable. Not that you would expect anything else coming from James Hoffmann. Very well extracted, sweet, great on the more mellow notes and with a nice long aftertaste. Now for Tim Wendelboe's Aeropress recipe. Tim's recipe uses 14 grams of finely ground coffee. Grind size changes for different coffees, but for the coffee I'm using right now, 19 clicks on the comandante works well. Aeropress is standard way up and with a washed paper filter. Start the timer and pour 200 grams of 96 degrees water as quickly as possible. Stir 3 times back and forth like this and put on the plunger to create a vacuum, keeping the coffee from dripping through. Now at 1 minute, remove the plunger and stir again 3 times back and forth. Now a 30-second press, pressing all the way through. Resulting coffee is very enjoyable. Well extracted, sweet and overall very balanced and even. Kind of reminds me of a very good batch brew. April Coffee's Aeropress recipe. For this recipe you will need 13 grams of medium ground coffee. I have found 24 clicks to work well with my current coffee. Pour in your coffee, start the timer and add 50 grams of 88 degrees water. Give this a little stir and put the plunger on the Aeropress. This is not really a bloom, but rather a way to ensure full saturation of the coffee as quickly as possible. Now at 30 seconds, remove the plunger and pour quickly up to 200 grams. Add the plunger back on again and let steep until 1 minute and 30 seconds while you press, aiming to finish at 2 minutes. This produces just a tasty, clean, light and vibrant cup of coffee, where it's really easy to pick out the individual nuances. The lower brew temperature also gives some nice acidity. This recipe really works well with April's own coffees, which of course makes sense. Next up, Alvin, aka Senor Gesha or Alcheng88 on Instagram, with a long press no bloom recipe. This recipe calls for a 16 gram dose of medium finely ground coffee. I have found 20 clicks on the comandante to work well with my current coffee. Pour the coffee into an inverted Aeropress and add 240 grams of 95 degrees water. Stir 45 times and let steep until 1 minute. Then add the filter cap with 2 paper filters, flip and press very slowly, aiming to finish around 2 minutes and 30 seconds. The resulting cup really has it all. Complexity, great mouthfeel, nicely intense on the flavours that really lingers in the mouth, and very balanced from hot to cold. This recipe also works really well on a wide range of different coffees. Only complaint would be that it is not super consistent with the long press. Now for a recipe by Rasmus Madsen, who won the Danish Aeropress Championship with this recipe. Recipe calls for 30 grams of caustic ground coffee, 30 plus clicks on the comandante, to 120 grams of 81 degree water. We are brewing a coffee concentrate to dilute with water. Aeropress inverted with AC filter or 2 normal paper filters. Pour in your coffee and add the 120 grams of water in a fast pour. Immediately stir for 10 seconds with a spoon, put the lid on and flip the Aeropress with a swirling motion like this. This just stops the coffee from being stuck to the sides. Now at 1 minute we press. We are actually pressing relatively quickly, 20 seconds, and we're pressing all the way through. Now for the dilution, still with 81 degrees water. Start with 80 grams and from there on you can adjust by diluting more to taste. The resulting coffee is excellent, very acidity forward, vibrant and complex while still being clean and with a lovely body. Only critique would be that this recipe works a lot better with some coffees than others. This does make sense since it is a championship recipe. It worked great with Ethiopian use in this video. So which of these is my favourite recipe? That is a very hard question to answer, but for my taste, coffee, gear and also ability to dial in a recipe, my favourite is probably Alvin's long press recipe, followed by April Coffees if I'm looking for something a bit cleaner. I highly suggest you try all of these great recipes to find the favourite for yourself. That was all for today. Thank you for watching.